Hello guys. Today we're going to be doing basically the baseline trail, the saddle trail, and the Gila trail or Gila trail. And these are three very small trails, especially the last two I mentioned. And so this is just a quick day. I want to get some trails done, but some quick ones. I didn't have much time. It was also quite a windy and cold day, and rainy. But anyway, I wasn't able to get this to work on my 3D maps, but the trailhead actually starts right here on this road. And then this is called the spur. And you take it up, you take it into this, and then here's this nice viewpoint. And then this takes you up and to the baseline loop. And that is basically where we're going to be starting our my little 3D thing I like to do at the start of each video. So I just wanted to show you guys what this looks like, because I think this 3D map here is just a really great representation. It gives you a good idea of what this looks like. So the baseline, I would say, if you're looking for a quick hike in Estrella Mountain Regional Park, and like good views, quick hike, and it has some intensity, especially at the beginning in that spur. I think baseline is your perfect one because it's not long mileage-wise, and it has a lot of elevation gain, and it's fun. And as you can see, this is part 2 of my 7-part series where I do every trail in this park. And so basically, this part 2 is covering this north section of the park, basically all I had left besides the horseshoe. Because as you know in my first video, I did the Quail Trail and I did the entire Rainbow Trail, which goes over there. But for this video, I did everything basically in this north section, which leaves just horseshoe left, and then we're on to the other longer sections of the park, like the Toothacre, like the Gadsden, the Peterson, and everything in between, Coldwater, Butterfield, you name it. And I will say, at least nowadays, compared to before, because I've been hiking here for years, but nowadays, I would say 90% of all the hikers in the park are hiking either Quail, maybe the beginning parts of Rainbow, baseline, saddle, Gila, and horseshoe. I rarely, if ever, see anyone hiking anything else inside the park. And, well, part of it is because where there used to be a parking lot, it no longer is there, which means to get to the further trails, you have to always use some way to get in there, and it always adds mileage. And, yeah. But anyway, sorry for my long tangent, but I just tried to let you know. Without further ado, let's get started with the video. Hey guys, we're at the start of the baseline trail. About to get started. Nice Saturday. Rain for a couple days. It's gonna rain later today, so we're doing I picked a short hike today, and we're gonna check out baseline. We're doing this solo today. So this is what it looks like. This is what the trail looks like. It comes off the road right here. This is what it looks like. From what I remember, because I did do this many years ago, this is actually quite an an intensive way up. Once you're up, you're fine, but actually getting up into this is the BA spur, right? But this is basically baseline. To just get up to that circular path, it's actually quite a ways up. So it is a little bit of elevation gain, so be prepared for that. Yeah, really nice on the way up. Kind of get the blood pumping in your legs a bit. It is quite cold right now. It's about 8:30 a.m. And the rain made things a little colder than normal. That's a gigantic beetle. Let's not step on that. You know, with the rain, gotta be careful make sure we don't step on something, right? But yeah. Man, this is a leg workout. Not gonna lie. Kind of made it up one. Flattens out and then starts going up again. But it is a steep way up, I will say. Sun shining through the clouds. All right, let's get going. Funny enough, I don't know if you guys remember, in the last video when we ran into those two, well, I didn't record that part, but we ran into these two people on horses. And they were their own private horses. The stables here are no longer here. There used to be a commercial horse riding service here. But anyway, apparently they have a YouTube channel. I had no idea, but I was just randomly doing some research on this park and I came up on their channel. It has like 20 subs. And I was like, I know those guys. They're the ones we saw on the trail. So it's pretty cool. So this is interesting. You're walking on this path and now you're in position. So that's not the real trail, but I'm guessing that's a easy shortcut to get onto the base. And then this is the actual trail. And so I've made it on this loop here. You can see the trail below. And then yeah, really cool. And now we're on another cross junction. So you're going up here, and then that's the rail trail that goes to that location that little thing cut there. And then this, I think, goes to a bench or a lookout point. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to a lookout point, then come back and keep going on the trail. I just don't know. I could look at my map, but I have it in my backpack right now. Pretty sure this thing ends pretty soon. Yeah, I think the lookout point is right there. I guess it looks out over Estrella. Let's take a look at it. Why not? Oh, saw something down there. Don't know what it was, but maybe a bird. With some movement there under that bush. That's the thing, you know, after hiking for this many years in Arizona, I've actually never encountered much wildlife, thankfully. You know, like, but you know, you can forget, you know, living here, you can forget that, hey, you still have to be careful where you're stepping. You don't want to step into a snake or something. Thankfully, I've never had to encounter one before on a trail, but if you do, you gotta be prepared. Last thing you want to do is get bitten, because that's just a pain. But, so yeah, there is a bench over there. So that's good to know. Really nice weather right now. I guess that's kind of an off-trail way. Maybe I'll check that out. And you know, this might be the loop that goes all the way back up there. I don't know.
So I did some research, and the viewpoint does end up looping back to the so it lets it go. Keep going. That little spot up there is just, I guess, an off-trail viewpoint. I looked into it, but it doesn't seem too interesting. So this viewpoint one goes up to here, and then it'll probably connect back. I forgot to bring my hat today, but I wasn't expecting a long hike, so and it was the morning, but I probably should have still brought a hike. Because even if I won't get sunburned, the morning glare is just in my face. Alright, so as you're walking, this is basically the end of the viewpoint trail. It delves into the main one. As you can see, the side path here was literally, it was that one. It's the one where we went around instead of going this way. And this all leads to here, and that keeps going to the main trail. That was the viewpoint. As you're walking, this is going to be the end of the spur as it's on the map, but basically the entryway to get into the loop, the BH trails. Got a few more rocks to climb, and here we are, officially up the mountain, and we're on the loop. I really should have brought a hat. And then you could either go right or you could go left. I think I'm gonna go right because I do want to check the saddle one out today as well and get that done. And yeah, goes into this loop. You have a little bit of an incline right here. A bit rocky. Then we get the views on this side. And so this is actually really nice because if you remember last time, we were over there. That's the nature center. And then over there, somewhere there, is the quail trail as well as the rainbow all the way over there that was going around there. Because that was the very edge of that side of the park. This is a little further in, but this is still in that opening mound, right? I do see some. I think that might be the saddle trail. I don't know what this is. That's not BA. But I don't think that's the quail. Could be. If that's the quail, that would be interesting. But no, I think that's the saddle trail. I think the quail's on the other side. I don't know. We'll find out. So without further ado, let's get to it. Guys, look how easily you could go off trail. I was following this path up here, and I guess that's a lookout point. And I was like, where are we going? The trail was right here. Keeps going this way and that way. So yeah, that is the BA trail, I guess. I think that's saddle. I see a sign over there. But anyway, since we're here, let's check out this lookout point, I guess. I guess you could keep going up there, but that's off trail. I mean, I don't really. I've been on higher mountains. I don't really care about that sort of thing. But my thing is, I want to follow. I want to document all the trails, you know. So it's the viewpoint from up here, I guess. And yeah, I mean, if you ever want to, up there could be maybe a good lunch spot or something if you want to eat a snack. But see some people cut over there. Don't do that. Same thing over here. So yeah, it's very easy to go off trail if you're not, you know, really paying attention. But yeah, what I was saying, the nice thing about baseline, so I've done this one in the past, a couple years back. The nice thing about baseline is, see, now the rocks really block it, but I didn't see that at all. I just saw this. I had no idea. But the reason baseline's nice is it's right by the parking lot, and you can just hike it. You don't have to hike it on other stuff to get to it. And it's strenuous at the beginning, but it's small and it's short enough where you don't need to dedicate like a full day or like a majority part of the day. You can just dedicate a couple hours. You know, it's a little more relaxed. But it has nice views, and yeah. So they went down the saddle trail. I know that's the saddle trail. And the saddle trail, if you remember, it connected to the quail trail when you were just at the beginning of the quail trail when you were going up that way, I think around that mountain. There's the saddle trail on the left. And I think that's what this is. And we're going to check that out in a second while I'm here. Obviously, even though it's called the trail, it's really just meant to be a connecting point between baseline and quail. Kind of a fun way, because, you know, it's nice sometimes to combine trails to make like your favorite segments of the different trails, right? But I want to document it anyway because it's technically an official trail, so that's what we're gonna do. So as you're walking up here, you could start to see the sign. And I was just thinking, man, taking this saddle trail all the way down means I'll have to go all the way back up. And that is a bit of incline. But gotta do it. Gotta do it. I've always been 100%er where I gotta get everything fully completed and done. If I'm doing something, I'm doing it right. It says you're walking down the baseline trail. You have a nice bench, and the baseline trail continues this way, and it'll make a full loop around and then go back down. Here's the bench off the path, and then here is the saddle trail, like I guessed, and very short 0.2 mile trail that just connects the quail trail over there. So if you see right there, last time in the last video, we were going up the quail trail, and then we saw left was the saddle, and then we kept going all the way until Rainbow. What's nice about here is saddle connects from here to the baseline. And so I'm gonna quickly hike it, show it to you guys, and yeah. So we're going on the saddle trail. Very short, really just a connecting path. If you're taking it down from baseline, really nice. But if you're taking it up from quail, it's gonna be a little bit of an elevation gain. And yeah, this is such a short trail, I think I'm just going to let the camera run. Yeah, we're walking down the saddle, and I see someone on the bike just turned left on it. So yeah, people like doing a loop where they start on the quail and then go through the saddle into baseline, right? It's a common one that's recommended by the rangers here. Little rocky right here, and steep downward turn. Going down there is fun, but going up is going to be a little bit annoying. It's a cool little crossover thing, right? Cool little trail that connects the bigger trails. Mad props to people who bike here. It's quite rocky. Yeah, this is that turn. And we're gonna go down. That's the final loop. So we are ending the saddle trail. And as you see here, this is the connecting path into, that's the quail we took last time, as you can see. And we just finished saddle trail. You know, as you remember last time we were walking straight and I showed you this and you kept going this way. It's the saddle trail, and that's the BA. And yeah, now I have to make my way up there. And here's the end of the saddle. We're moving back on the baseline. Let's keep going. We just did that. And we're going down. Nice little bench there. Yeah, let's go. We're going down. Bit rocky there. Yeah. So I think it ends up going over there. And I think oh yeah, I see it works its way down over there. I think that's what it does. I don't know, we'll see when we get there. Going down, and then trail kind of goes here and then veers off this way. Yeah, I will say this is kind of rocky here. Well, that's nice though. But it is a lot of loose rocks on this little part here. Looks like you cross a wash. You know, when it rains here and it floods, water pours down, keeps going. So about 8 years ago when I did this originally, there was a bee problem on this trail where there was just beehives everywhere in like this one segment, and like it was kind of, you could get stung, but so far I haven't seen anything, so maybe they no longer have that problem. But I remember there were signs everywhere warning about it. We made it up here, and we're now going in, and here we're gonna start looping this way. I think in fact we probably go that way. See the nice cacti, and yeah, it looks like it goes around. Now here it's kind of back to that kind of dirt, kind of but rocky, so there's good grip. Just saw some mountain bikers, so this is bikeable for sure. So yeah, I mean, oh okay, so it does a nice loop here. No, it doesn't. I'm blind because I don't have a hat. The sun's blinding me. And then it goes around. This is actually kind of nice, this right here. We're entering in this kind of bushy area here. Yeah, this is interesting because I did this so long ago I didn't remember this back part of the trail. I would have thought you would have stayed on top of the mountain for the whole time, but no. You end up kind of going in between on the backside here. Another wash of sorts. And then a bit of a rock scramble up. Here we're making it to the unmarked kind of trail, right? So yeah. So the BA continues. That's where we're gonna keep going. And this is an unmarked trail. And there you go. I mean, you guys saw most of it last time when I zoomed in. Someone's all the way up there. That's where all the way up there is where that little seat was. In the saddle. And yeah, let's keep going. I think we're more than halfway. But I could be completely wrong. But I think once we get past this, it's gonna be back to that side. This actually right here is that 0.4 or whatever it was that we saw on the rainbow, where you can cut into the rainbow. Actually right here. Man, that kind of looks like a nice trail. I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, we saw that whole thing from the top of the rainbow. It just skirted all the way down and then went up here and then goes right here. So that's really cool. It's a shortcut to the Rainbow Trail. Not an official trail, but I think we're gonna keep going on the baseline though. I could maybe go on that mountain to show you guys, but I mean, I think you guys have already seen it. Whenever I do my cool combination hike at the very end of this journey, maybe I'll do this as the combination. I don't know. We'll see when I plan that route out. But yeah. All right, guys. Let's keep going on the baseline. Finish this off. Man, the wind shear right now is crazy. That was the sign. And now you go here. It's a little nice cactus here, and then it ends up going into this little bend. It goes up here. And yeah, so now we're making our way back around. And I think we're actually quite close to the finish line, because you know, that's this end of the park. So we've kind of almost went from that end to this end with the saddle, right? The saddle was the furthest, kind of furthest more to the point, but the rainbow really skirts that path later on. But anyway, you know, interesting enough, I thought this path would stay on the mountaintop like the front half does. It actually goes down into the valley a bit between these two mountains, and then I guess makes its way back around this way. So this is a sign that takes you to the Tooth Acre, right? So that's that little cut. That the start of Tooth Acre is really right there at that parking lot. But this is technically Tooth Acre, right? But it's meant to be a shortcut between BA and Tooth Acre, but they call it the Tooth Acre Trail here. Hello. So personally, next time when I'm going to do the Gadsden run, I think what we're going to plan out is, well, the plan was to start. There's a parking lot over there, and then there's a trail that leads to Tooth Acre, and then we'll take Tooth Acre and finish Tooth Acre, and then do the Gadsden. Back to here. So that's gonna be real long. That's gonna be like a 15-mile hike. It's gonna be insane. I'm planning to do it this Wednesday as long as the weather allows and my schedule clears. I actually don't have as much time because I have to be back by 5 on Wednesday, so we'd have to start early. So when I'm planning for that, I'm thinking, you know, when I do the full Tooth Acre Trail, the start is really right there. We've done most of it already, all the way up to like the 3/4 mark. This is technically Tooth Acre Trail, but I'm not going to put that in my Tooth Acre video, I don't think. Because, I mean, what's the point? It's just like a little trail that leads to there. That's a cut into BA. But, yeah, let's keep going down the baseline. And, but I did want you guys to know that, because if you're planning a route, you can, you know, go from Tooth Acre to baseline this way. And, yeah. All right, let's keep going. If this goes around, I think we're pretty close to the start now. This is nice because last time we really skirted that side of the park, and now we're skirting this side of the park, even though really the Gadsden and everything, that's really that side of the park. But it's in this first like beginning mound here where they have all these smaller trails and loops. This is, you know, you skirt in the edge here, which is really cool. But there is a trail over there that is further down and leads to there, which we're going to be taking when we do the big 2-acre Gadsden route. And then I have something cool coming up where I'm going to explore the crossover trail, which is actually a secret way into the park. There's another entrance to the park that's way over by Peterson. So when I do the full Peterson route, I kind of want to do the crossover thing. And I think that would be a cool video. It'd be like, there's a secret entrance into this park, you know, because not many people know about it. When I looked it up online, there were literally 2 reviews on like the main Arizona hiking website. And it was not even on all trails at all. So, oh dear. Looks like the weather has capsized a cactus in our trail, which means we will have to be going around. This must have fallen just recently, because they usually clear this stuff pretty quickly, I think. Hey, you gotta be careful for falling cactus. You would not want this. Now, if this thing fell on you, you'd probably be dead or severely injured. Just from the weight, not even the thorns. Now, it reminds me of a scene where you're about to get robbed and then you're on a trail and then you get blocked by a dead tree that just happened to be on the trail, right? Anyway, it's pretty funny. But yeah, let's keep going. Going up the remainder of the BA trail, I'm looking here and you see that little dirt path right there. Thing is, that's one of our trails. I think so. I think that trail might be the one we're taking next time. We'll see. But I think that's the trail. So that's really cool. Again, it's really nice to connect. But after, you know, so far my favorite 2 trails in the park is still Rainbow. And I think this is in number 2. Quail was nice, Saddle is nice, but it's too short, right? To really put on the ranking. We have these really nice steps, right? So now it's a little bit down and then goes back up. So we are here. And this is a really nice open space here. You can just chill. Looks like an offbeat. Someone made a path up there, but not a real trail. Alright, it looks like this is making its way down. And I think that's where it connects. Literally right there. I see the spur. That's the trail. That's the connecting point. We're almost done with the baseline trail, BA, guys. Alright, let's make our way down. As we're walking up here from where we just came, I see a couple signs. So yes, this is the horseshoe trail. So the horseshoe trail is the one that I'm planning to park, because there's a parking lot there. Right now there's only 3 parking lots open. The one by visitors, the one for baseline, and the one for there. The one for the big trail is closed for 2 years. So the horseshoe trail is that long one I was talking to you about that will take me all the way up to the start, to the construction site, to the start of 2-acre. And this looks like it's a path to that trail or to that parking lot, so that's really cool. And then this is the baseline. This is basically, that's the end of the baseline. So we're gonna finish the baseline in a second. I'm gonna walk up this just a little bit so I could check out what this little path here looks like. So I'm walking up this side path to that parking lot just so I can see, get a look of what it looks like. And that right there is the Gila Trail, which is the 3rd and final little trail we're gonna be doing today. And that one I'll actually have to park over there to get to. I could probably hike it from here, but I don't feel like it. But anyway, so this right here, this little path takes you to the parking lot, and yeah, that right there is the Gila Trail, which I've never done that one. It's a super tiny one, so I was like, I'm gonna get it done today just to get it documented. But this pretty much goes, I could take you a little further, but I think that right there is the horseshoe right there, and then this takes you there, and then we'll do the horseshoe when we do the big Gadsden thing, and then, all right, let me take you back. Right, now we're going down baseline. I'm coming up on another sign, and yeah, so this is a trail that leads you to the Gila Trail, which we will be doing. And I very well could just do the whole thing right now and come back here, but I want to park over there because I want to scout out the parking lot for the next trip when we do the big hike. So yeah, that leads to the Gila Trail. And you have a little wash here, and we'll take you to the end of the baseline. Keep going down this way, but that's where we came from. And there it is. That's the start of the loop. Never mind, this is not that sign, but pretty close. This looks like a path that people used to get up here. From there, another lookout point there that's not marked. It's interesting that this curls back this way. Actually being a little further than I thought we were. For sure. I could see my car from here, I think, but over there. Still. Also, there's a bit of rocky terrain here. And yeah, it loops this way. Cool. You know, I'm finding it hard to, I'm thinking how I'm gonna rank this difficulty-wise, because this is definitely up there for the views. I like this trail. This and Rainbow are pretty much both high marks there. But so Rainbow's the only one I marked moderate so far, and that one's moderate because it's long, not really because it's hard. It has some strenuous parts, but it's mostly just long. This trail, however, is actually quite shorter than Rainbow. And from what I remembered when I did this a long time ago, I was thinking this is probably going to be a moderate, right, difficulty. But it feels substantially easier than Rainbow because it's shorter. Yeah, it had that strenuous beginning when you had to climb up. And I think that's what I remember, and that's what made me think it was hard back then. But, so I want to mark it moderate difficulty, but then that means it ranked the same as Rainbow. And I feel like Rainbow's harder, you know? But I don't want to mark it easy, because this is definitely not easy difficulty. This isn't Quail or Saddle, you know, or Gila. So I think I want to still mark it as moderate, but there's some nuance to it, right? This one's moderate, but not for the length, but more just for, you could say, kind of strenuous in some particular segments. I don't know, but it's a really nice trail either way. I will say this though, The pathing is a little scuff here. So you kind of head down into a wash. I gotta fix my shoe. I'm gonna end up tripping. And then looks like this is the path, I guess. It's kind of tough to tell though. Path's kind of gets lost here for a little bit. Yeah, it's like carved out into the rock. Kind of cool. Like carved into the rock, this trail, you know. Definitely steep here though, I will say. Yeah, this is moderate difficulty. Not for length, but for its strenuous parts, for sure. 100%. Really cool though. Really cool indeed. We'll say that was a steep way up. But you had to gain elevation somehow, right? To get back into that high point there. I will say, this is cool going up. Definitely do the route I took. Don't make a left. This is cool at the end. Going up this kind of, you know, pickaxed rock trail, you know. Yeah, we're making our way up there. Definitely picks up at the end. Yeah, definitely moderate difficulty for its intensity rather than its length, I would say. But the front half of this trail is amazing. And then the back half is kind of you know. But the front half, yeah, this is a nice trail. Definitely so far a number 2 position for me behind Rainbow. So I'm on the baseline, nearing the end, and I noticed that's a cool look of that bridge. That is cool. Some nice flowers here. Yeah, so far looks like we're fine bee-wise. So they fixed that problem. That was a major problem on this trail a long time ago. Yeah, man, this is intense here. High elevation gain. That's cool. There definitely could be something in there though. That's where we started. That's the start of loop, and then we go down. That's it for baseline. Hell yeah. All right. Here's the final hurdle. And then we finished the baseline trail. Heck yeah. We have done it. That's our way back down. That's where we started off. Baseline trail completed. Overall, amazing trail. You don't have all day, or half a day if you want to do something short. It's still really fun and exciting and challenging baseline trail. We're back here, and this time I'm taking this path back. That with me. We've got the full experience. Pathing wise. All right. Bye, baseline. And here you go. We have finished it. So this is the third and final parking lot that's open right now. Like a dirt path. And so this is the Gila Trail, which we'll be doing as our third and final hike today. And I just want to scout out where the other one starts. And this is where the Horseshoe Trail starts. Right, without further ado, let's do the Gila Trail. very wide, wheelchair accessible. All right. So this is more like a kind of showing the nature of the desert, you know. So there's the last one was broken, but I think this one is the one I'm talking about. Anyway, yeah, it's a nice walk. You can walk a dog here, I guess. Definitely easy difficulty, but nice, cool. Check out once. I wouldn't do it again, but nice to check out once. To point out that the Horseshoe Trail, which is the furthermost, hike that goes into that portion of the park on this side, because that's the road already. It goes all along here and down there, and it seems flat. It seems pretty flat, so I think that is definitely going to be the easiest way to get to those trailheads, which is what you want to do when you're doing a 15-mile hike. You don't want to create extra pain for yourself. And here it is, the end of the Gila Trail. More like a nature walk, but yes.